That's right. This is the coach's room, and he is Jon Goyens, two-time QMJHL head coach, and he's back with another edition of the coach's room. And let's talk. You're a power play specialist, John. Let's talk New York Rangers power play, the second highest ranked among the teams, remaining at 25.6%. However, since the third game of round 2 against Carolina and through the first 3 games of this conference final against Florida, they've gone 1 for 18, 0 for 8 this round. Is this the aggressive work of a penalty kill, or do the Rangers find a way? How can they find a way to break through?
Well, they want to hold pucks on so much, right? They're a possession type of power play. They do have movement, but if I compare them to like a Tampa Bay who underhandle pucks, they will overhandle, but with a purpose. They're looking for seam passes, and we'll see some examples in a second where they look for Zibanejad on that seam pass, not just your typical flank 1T. He'll be down by the goal line below bottom circle. And right now they face basically 2 PKs that are very similar. You'll see Carolina's D up high, pressing high. Well, you'll see Florida's PK pressing high. And what do they want to do? They want you to continuously make indirect plays, stay on the perimeter. So then it's a one goes, everybody goes. So as we jump into these clips, I will highlight that I think New York is, if they are a little bit sharper on the execution, chances are coming their way. And you see here, Ekblad up top, very similar. We'd see Burns up there up top. So what are they doing? He jumps, forces an indirect play, forces them to the perimeter, and watch this entire sequence. There's going to be 9 perimeter passes until Panarin can wheel around the net and take kind of a Hope fadeaway shot like you would in basketball. Here, 4 guys up high by New York, so 3 guys up high by Florida. Florida identifies. So again, you want to go indirect. They're jumping, loose puck, and it's gone. They will even force you to play a little bit of pitch and catch along the top, and it's risky business. It's risky business to continuously make these high passes with great sticks by Florida. So the quicker they can be, they need to get rid of this high pocket guy, release them, because when they go 3 high on the PK, you got to be ready to go indirect or bypass and create low 2-on-1s. Now watch Mr. Panarin here, the bread man, hide and go seek off a face-off play. And look, Kreider's already ready to turn his hips and be ready for this one-touch play. And we'll see this kind of develop where they want to create these 2-on-1s. PP2, simplify it. You don't need to go east-west and then back east-west. You got to go north. It was available for you. That right circle left circle is open. Watch again. Panarin, he's going to fade out of coverage, and he's unchecked now. I think he should find his way above this defender or below to create confusion because, again, look at that space. So if they front Zibanejad for a 1T, he could just throw it into a pocket of space. Over aggressive on an entry, elite seam passes. Zibanejad's got to be a little bit higher, and we'll see another example of that in a second. When they do rush back to get into their defensive posture, they will be a little bit ugly. And look again, opening up that weak side goal line. If Zibanejad doesn't drift and he gets in that spot, it's under the bar because that's what he gets paid millions of dollars to do.
Yeah, John, the other thing I noticed on the power play when they're struggling, the puck's along the yellow way too much. When you have skilled players like the New York Rangers do, that puck should never be on the yellow once the release happens and things settle down. So thinking a little bit of 5-on-5 here now, John, the New York Rangers had 37 block shots last game. And I think Paul Maurice talked about that in his post-game press conferences. He felt like they left a lot of offense on the shins of the New York Rangers. So is this just a case of commitment level, or did the New York Rangers change the way that they're defending or recommit to the way that they're defending to really squander a lot of these offensive threats?
Well, I'll celebrate the fact that apparently Netflix is coming out with Happy Gilmore #2. They're in Florida. There must be batting cages everywhere, and they must have gone out on their day off and taken a few balls right off the chest in the batting cage, just like Happy Gilmore. It's 364 more days till training camp because these guys were committed to block with their bodies, but it was also how elite they were with great defensive sticks. Elite sticks. So I'm actually going to show 5-on-5 plays where they have elite sticks and willing to block. But on the penalty killing, they actually blocked 9 shots or forced a ton of misses. So why don't we fire up the clips and we'll see the 5-on-5 clips start up right away. You want to go east-west, it takes elite sticks. You can't just match body for body. Lindgren was there with his stick and his body all night. Off a post, Miller doesn't spin and get that stick on blade. It's a wide open net for Varhegi. Goes behind the net, right here. Poke, boom. Lindgren right in the chest like Happy Gilmore. And look at him. His partner's right there. Boom, they get it out. Now we go to the PK. They're forcing pocket pass. Adam Fox, he went to Harvard for a reason. Boom, smart enough to have his stick in a lane. Doesn't necessarily have to take that shot off the body. Again, watch the desperation, urgency for Trouba to get back in that lane and sell out to block that shot. Again, you want to get to the pocket, elite shooter and Barkov. Well, they went out and got Goodrow, and he's paying off on both sides of the ledger. Now, again, watch this read by Trouba. He's so far out of the lane, and he reads it early. He's aware, and there's no surprises. So they're forcing guys to miss, but they're getting in those lanes. They're willing to lay down. And look at Lindgren. We've seen this year in, year out from him in the playoffs, just limping around, and probably a really popular guy for the commitment that he has. And then right to the very end, again, Goodrow, square, gets it off the ankles and up in the screen. So when you got guys committing to that level of blocking shots, but also with having great sticks, you could really, really start alleviating the pressure offensively.
Yeah, John. And the last thing I wanted to ask you about before we let you go is I want to talk with you about the overtime winner. And you know, Capo Caco gets healthy scratched the previous game, and you never know how a guy's going to react to that situation. You've had to be the one making those types of decisions. There was a lot of conversation. You know, Hedl hasn't played in 8 months, and all of a sudden they got a red carpet kind of rolled out to him for the first line. Now, what I want to talk to you about on this goal, if we can tee up this clip and see if you and I are seeing this the same way, is actually the work that Caco does. It got cut off a little bit in that on that clip, but you know, we talk all the time about faceoffs not just being a stat for the centerman. And correct me if I'm wrong here, John, Caco does a lot of the work there, no?
He continues to go in, and they have one guy going behind their centerman, one behind their own centerman, right? And so you got a guy hunting on either side of where that puck can flare out. And teams are now looking into those analytics. Where do pucks flare out? So they have one above, and he continues on the hunt. After that, I know Paul Maurice and his staff are not going to be happy how they defended. Yeah. Rodriguez loses his guy. Ekman-Larsson leaves the inside dots for absolutely no reason. And you got 4 red jerseys, dot line or outside on this play. Makes absolutely no sense. But give Caco and the flanks on the faceoff. The winger's job is never done. Just once that puck is dropped, you got to get in there and you got to dig away. And without that dig by Caco, we're talking about a continuation in this overtime and potentially a 2-2 series.
He beats Bennett off the hash, and then he beats Kulikov on the bottom side. I mean, those are 2 big players that he continues to battle through. I thought Roslovic was a little bit hesitant to jump in. I know he gets an assist too, but I wanted to give Caco a little bit of love because nobody's gotten dragged harder than him through this run. And I think that's a big-time play that I don't hear anybody talking about on that game-winning goal.
Still not entirely sure what exactly Ekman-Larsson is doing on that sequence, but you guys did hit on that already. This was another fantastic edition of the Coach's Room. We'll be back with Jon Goyens later this week to talk Western Conference Final. Thanks, John.
Have a good one.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.